I don't trust the FBI. Frankly, the FBI also needs to be investigated for the cover-up of this scandal. Don't you agree? So whatever happens on election day, the Biden scandal ain't going away. I hope you've been able to enjoy and watch our exclusive Zoom interview with the former mayor of New York and former U.S. attorney, and who was attorney for President Trump, Rudy Giuliani, who almost single-handedly has exposed the Biden corruption we're all talking about today. Now, he goes back, a year or two on this, exploring the Biden corruption vis-a-vis Ukraine. Little did we know that the Ukraine corruption angle for the Biden machine was almost, in many respects, a side hustle with big money or even bigger money coming out of China, it seems. So Rudy Giuliani explained, what the scandal is and what ought to be done. And obviously it fits in with my analysis, so it was a great discussion. But the mayor, who is a national expert on RICO, the Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organizations Law, he used it successfully against the mafia and even corporations back when he was U.S. attorney. And he points out that it's the Biden family and the way it was operating in terms of influence peddling, money laundering, bribery, what have you. There's more than enough evidence and information out there for indictments. And I would presume indictments of Joe Biden. It's that serious. We have a witness, Tony Babolinsky, has come forward, who has testified about Joe Biden's personal involvement in this, and also has documents and such. Of course, we have the Hunter laptop information, which also confirms misconduct and criminality. And then you have a third source of information coming out from one of Hunter Biden's partners, who was in jail now for separate fraud issues. And his emails further confirm the criminality here. And it looks like the Biden operation was operating as a racketeering organization. It was a racket. And the racket was to translate Vice President Biden's name, and previously senator, it looks like, but certainly when he was vice president, translate his name into an option or an opportunity to raise money through bribery and influence peddling. And I warn you, I'm not a lawyer, but to generally do or pursue a RICO charge, you have to have what's called 2 predicate acts. And certainly there are the requisite, there's the evidence of the requisite criminal acts. And according to Giuliani, there's enough information now out there that he could get an indictment. Now, I know there are reports, James Rosen of Sinclair Broadcasting says that the Justice Department attorney or some Justice Department sources said that there's been an ongoing money laundering operation since last year. And it's and as I said, it's ongoing. It's continuing into Hunter Biden and associates. Well, does that mean Joe Biden is under investigation? Or more likely, does it mean that the FBI and the Justice Department are pretending an investigation's going on, when in fact there is no real investigation going on? It's kind of like the Durham investigation or the Clinton email investigation, where they're going through the motions of saying we're investigating something, but there's nothing serious being done. So when they say it's ongoing, it means they got the laptop back in December pursuant to a grand jury subpoena. They've done zilch with it. And only after it became public because of Rudolph Giuliani's patriotic activism did the FBI get embarrassed into doing something, and for instance, questioning Mr. Babolinsky the other day, who, by the way, is in fear for his life. He has his family being protected, and he's so frightened for his life, he's not going to go home for as long as it takes to get justice. So don't you believe it that the FBI is doing an investigation? I don't trust the FBI. I've told you that. If I were the president, I'd appoint a separate special prosecutor to investigate and prosecute the Biden issue. You can't rely on the FBI. Use IRS investigators, use DHS investigators, maybe use the Marshal Service, use the Postal Inspector Service, Inspector Service, I believe it's called. There's a criminal division, criminal investigation investigators over at the Pentagon as well. I don't trust the FBI. Frankly, the FBI also needs to be investigated for the cover-up of this scandal. Don't you agree? So whatever happens on Election Day, the Biden scandal ain't going away. And this is something you should be aware of. We all may want personally a certain outcome in the election, but it's never the end of the world when your candidate doesn't win. And I know many of you probably want President Trump to win. I'm sure some of you want President Biden to win, or Vice President Biden to win. But and I say this in a neutral way. Things never change. Things are never as bad for your beliefs as you think they will be when the candidate of your choice loses. So there may be a President Biden. Does it mean all criminal investigations into the Biden corruption scandals will be shut down? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. This is where the bureaucratic inertia of the Justice Department and the FBI or whatever other agency may be investigating at the time, works to the benefit of the rule of law. It's hard for a president, as we see with President Trump, to shut anything down. Now, I know the likelihood of anything happening substantial markedly decreases, but it's not a zero chance, even if Vice President Biden wins. You can be sure that Judicial Watch will be pursuing justice no matter who wins. I mean, Judicial Watch we're not going away. The law under Freedom of Information Act and other litigation opportunities, that's still available to us no matter who wins. And frankly, given the transparency of the Trump administration, it may not be much difference in terms of FOIA. There may be more to investigate in terms of government misconduct. I don't know. But our FOIAs will continue. We'll still fight the Justice Department, I'm sure, about Hillary Clinton's emails. I mean, things haven't changed there, for instance, with the Trump administration. The Trump administration just recently asked 2 courts to shut down our email inquiries into Hillary Clinton. So forgive me for being skeptical that things will change much, even with a Biden Justice Department. As far as I could tell, there wasn't much distinction. Now, I exaggerate for effect, but there wasn't much distinction besides the rhetorical leadership of someone like Barr, and obviously there were policy differences. But in our neck of the woods, in terms of transparency and accountability, not much difference. Not much difference at all. So Joe Biden ain't out of the woods if he wins the presidency.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.